everyone, and welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about Holly and Nick Hate Christmas by Betsy St. Amant. So, this one is a contemporary romance. It's obviously a Christmas romance, and it also fits within the Christian fiction category. So, why did I want to read this one? Well, I've enjoyed reading Betsy's books in the past, including Tacos for Two, and I have recommendations for books I've enjoyed by Betsy on my blog, and you can find that at narelleatkins.com. And there'll be a link in the show notes. So I also talked about one of Betsy's books when I first started the show, and that was in episode 8. I talked about Where I Found You. So you can also look that episode up. And I'll add my usual disclaimer and say thank you to the publisher for providing an advance reader copy, and all the opinions that I express in this episode are completely my own. So let's talk about the book. Holly and Nick Hate Christmas is set in Ohio. So we're actually spend most of the story on a farm. And this one has quite a lot of romance tropes in it. And with Christmas, that tends to happen. So it's a rom-com. So we have all the ridiculous laugh out loud situations that go along with a rom-com. It's also the brother's best friend trope. So we have a matchmaking brother and he's matchmaking his sister and his best friend who he works with. We also have the hate Christmas trope, which draws on the Scrooge and Grinch and a few of those lovable or not so lovable characters that we know from Christmas books and movies that are in the culture as well. And this one has fake relationships in it, and it's kind of fake relationships with a bit of a twist and then another twist. So that keeps the story interesting because the consequences of what's being faked aren't particularly great. We also, as I said, have the pop culture vibes. So one of the movies, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, if you've seen that movie, you'll recognize some of the storyline in this one as well. Definitely draws on it. And we have a lot of family drama because we have a large family. With the more children you have, the more problems you can have in a story. So, anyway, the first line in the book is this one. Christmas was so overrated. So we have Holly who's thinking this in chapter 1, and she hates Christmas. And one of the reasons she hates Christmas is that she will be turning 30 on Christmas Day. So she's a Christmas Day baby in a family of 5. And one of her issues is that she feels unseen because she's one of a crowd, and her birthday and Christmas gets lumped together. So at the beginning of the story, she's just lost her job and been laid off 2 weeks before Christmas. And it's a marketing job that she doesn't particularly like because at this time of year, she's having to spend her life doing Christmas marketing materials. And that's certainly not something she particularly enjoys. But at the same time, how can she afford her apartment in Detroit? How can she keep living in Detroit and whatever? She doesn't have a job. So she starts off with a problem of not having a job. Now, her brother is one of those happily smug newlyweds who's still in the honeymoon phase, and he lives in Cleveland, and he's gets this great idea that his best friend Nick, who is also single, should come to the family farm with them for Christmas because Nick also hates Christmas and there's a whole lot of reasons behind that. And so he thinks instead of Holly avoiding the family Christmas because she feels like she's the single odd one out, etc., that if Nick came along and hated Christmas along with her, then everything would be peachy and it'd be good. But of course, that's not how it works out. But anyway, so we basically start the story with 2 characters that have a lot of emotional baggage related to Christmas, which introduces us to Nick. So he's 31 years old. As I said, he also works in marketing with Holly's brother in Cleveland. And he's got some childhood stuff that's happened. He's got quite a dysfunctional family and some quite specific memories that make Christmas a time of year he would rather forget, despite the fact that he has faith and is a Christian. So he's quite an interesting character. And what he wants to do is set up a non-profit, and he wants to have a non-profit where he's got a farm or a ranch, and teens that are at risk can go to a teen camp there and rehabilitate, etc., etc. So he's actually been talking to Holly's parents about all of this. And what the children in the family don't know, the adult children, is that Holly's parents have been talking to Nick about selling the family farm to Nick to help support him with his nonprofit and set up this teen camp. So this is the big secret in the story that only Nick and the parents know. So he's met Holly once and she seemed okay. And he thought she was quite cute and liked her, but it was like a very quick visit when he was at work. But anyway, so he's got Holly's brother comes up with this plan and he's thinking, no, I really don't want to do that. I hate Christmas. I don't want to be with your family, my family, anyone's family. And then the whole idea of scoping the farm to see whether it would work as a teen camp kind of pulls him across the line into going and doing this big family shindig at the farm for Christmas. So he agrees to the matchmaking plan and to be Holly's date for Christmas. Now, Holly's family is very complicated. She's got one brother who I've just spoken about, but she also has three sisters, and there's a lot of drama that happens with the three sisters that will come out in the story as well. And so we are at the farm and the meet cute with Holly and Nick, it's a rom-com. So of course something goes wrong, it's embarrassing, it's awkward, it's a disaster. And they don't kind of get off on the right foot, but they sort of do because they do start to bond over this whole idea of hating Christmas together and gritting their teeth as they deal with the family and particularly Holly's mother, who goes completely over the top with Christmas. But then we have a whole lot of secrets in this story. And as these secrets start to unravel, that very much impacts the way people think, act, and behave. And I'm not going to say any more because I'm not going to spoil it. But I tell you what, life gets very interesting. So there are a lot of problems in this story. And secrets, pretty much most of the issues that happen stem from a secret that should or shouldn't have been kept, depending on the situation. So there's a lot of issues that come from that. And Holly really has to look at whether Nick is the real deal. And when they first meet at the meet cute, they've got all those sparks of attraction. And that was consistent with when she met him briefly ages ago. But is he really there because he wants to be there? Is he there because he's doing Nick a favor? Like, what's really going on? And she has trust issues. So all of that's very important to her. And then we have Nick, who really is starting to feel uncomfortable about this secret that the parents are keeping from their adult children. And he didn't quite realize what he was getting into until he's in the situation thinking this might not end well. And of course, it's a story. So it's obviously going to unpack in a very interesting way and a very unexpected way because there'll be a lot of complications from all the secrets. So the family drama is there. There's a lot of family drama for a whole bunch of different reasons because nearly all the side characters are keeping a secret of some description. Some of the secrets are small and happy, and others are larger and have bigger implications. And being a rom-com, we have all those fun wrong assumptions and misunderstandings that we love in rom-coms that set up those really cute laugh out loud situations. And I was laughing out loud at certain times in this story because there's some very funny stuff that happens. And the romance, it is adorable, but it is incredibly complicated. And there's a lot of obstacles that Holly and Nick have to work through before they can actually get anywhere near a happily ever after in this one. So I absolutely love the story. It was such a fun read and it was light-hearted being a rom-com, but it also had a lot of depth as well, which comes out later in the story. And so it's a holiday shenanigans on steroids is this book. There's so much stuff going on with all the family activities related around Christmas and the laugh out loud ridiculous rom-com situations that we have. And the characters in the family were very quirky. And the family relationships, particularly the sibling relationships, were really interesting and really complicated. And they were a group of siblings that I think the eldest would have been like 35 and Holly's in the middle. I think the youngest is 20. So there's an age gap between them, which means they didn't all live at home growing up together at the same time. And then their lives have put them living in different places. So they kind of are like strangers who grew up together. It's a really interesting dynamic. And I really appreciated how all the family relationships unpacked in the story as well. And the matchmaking brother, he's adorable. He has such good intentions and he just wants his sister and best friend to be happy. But I don't think he quite realizes what he's got himself into with this suggestion of them dating each other for the family holidays. It's a lot more complicated than he suspected. And the siblings, of course, have their drama. We've got some adorable kids, so the grandkids of the parents that are there, and they create a lot of really funny and fun moments in the story. And we have the White Christmas Hallmark vibes that I just love, particularly because I have summer in Australia for Christmas. I love going to a White Christmas, and this one ticked all the boxes for that. And we have a lot of pop culture references as well. So if you're familiar with Christmas movies and a few different things, then you'll appreciate those references as you read the story. And I suppose at the bottom line, what was really interesting is why did Holly and Nick hate Christmas? And we have some surface reasons, but we also have some very deep emotional reasons. And I really appreciated how they were unpacked in the story and how the secrets that were entangled with some of that all came out as well. It was a really light-hearted read, but there was a lot of depth, particularly in that last section of the book where everything gets sorted out. My favorite book quote in the story is this one. But sometimes we just have to sit in the truth and not try to make it go away. And truth was a really important theme in this book, and it underpinned a whole lot of stuff that was going on because when people were lying, irrespective of whether they had good intentions or not, and when they were manipulating people, even if they weren't quite realizing what they were doing, all of that behavior has negative consequences because it is the truth that sets you free. And I really appreciated how the biblical principles around truth really underpin the story in a very solid way. And I would describe this one as having relevant faith elements for all the reasons I mentioned. And the faith elements aren't that apparent in the first half of the book. It's really the second half of the book where the faith threads are drawn out in a very organic and lovely way that I really appreciated. And so the impact on me, this story was laugh out loud funny because it's a rom-com and I really enjoyed reading it. It was just a lovely escape into the story world that Betsy's created. And at the same time, there were some really poignant moments and the characters were dealing with a lot of stuff. And when the secrets came out, there were consequences that naturally came from that. And I really appreciated how the characters had to work through some of the big stuff that had been revealed and what was going on. And they had to be adult in how they dealt with things. And I won't say any more because I don't want to give away spoilers, but I really appreciated how all of those things played out in the story. And in summary, I would recommend Holly and Nick Hate Christmas to readers who like Christmas rom-coms with depth, who readers who like the brother's best friend romance trope and matchmaking. And if you like pop culture references in your book, you'll like this one. If you like lots of family drama and very complex family relationships, you'll like this one. And you'll like this one if you like the relevant faith elements in the story that really highlight the importance of truth and why it's important to have truth and honesty and integrity in all your relationships. Thanks for joining me today. Does Holly and Nick Hate Christmas sound like a book that you'd like to read? Have you read it? What did you think? You can let me know. If you're listening on the podcast, you can send me a text via a link in the show notes. If you're watching at YouTube, you can like the episode at YouTube and you can also leave a comment at YouTube. You can also email me via my website where I have a contact form, and that's at narelleatkins.com. And please subscribe at your favorite podcasting app or subscribe at YouTube if you've enjoyed this episode, and then you'll get a notification on when the next episode drops. And also, please share this episode with a friend if you've enjoyed it, especially a friend who you think would enjoy reading Betsy's books and who likes reading Christmas romances. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.